sir, I have one doubt.
Ha ha ha.
Sir, can you once again tell us that how to take the form data in Ajax?
Mm-hmm.
Just write that keyword only, that how to take the form data into Ajax.
Like that, see. You have to take like the one
Yes.
variable. Yes, can you see my screen?
Yes, 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 sir.
Like that one variable, like you have to take it, like let's say FD, and you have to create like the object of form data. First of all, like you have to take like the one variable where you have to like read entire the form na there by taking the ID of it.
Okay, okay.
Here
So
you
we have to
form.
pass the ID in form tag, na?
Yes, so here you will pass this.
Okay, okay.
Understood, na? This like that. Okay, so see guys, like today like we'll see basically how to work with like the yesterday like we were trying to handle like some DTOs. So today like we'll see like for this DTO like there is like the one more solution as I said yesterday. Okay, like we can work with like the some automappers over there. The automapper is one of the concept basically, which is just reducing the like the DTOs work. DTOs work means what? Like we have to work with the DTOs only, but in DTOs we are passing the multiple fields. Now here like we are whichever way we are fetching like the fields, and that we need to like type over there. Without writing this field, like it will not fetch inside this. Now, but what I want here, I want something like the solution over there, like without writing these things. How will I get these things? Because see, this is one the possible for like what for the 5 to 6 fields are present inside the employee. But what if the more than like the 100 fields are present in the same like the model, so how it is possible like or like in the same DTO there are like more than 100 of fields are there, so I cannot write like this out of more than 100 fields na here, but I wanted to fetch like all of the 100 fields only. So how do we deal with that? So for that like we need to take the help of the mapper basically, that is automapper, it's called as automapper. So what automapper is doing basically, it's just converting. So there are basically the two conventions, like we have to first convert, like it depends on us only which one like we have to use. Either we can just like pass like the data from entity to DTO, or the second things like we have to come in like the inverse direction, that is from the DTO to entity. Depends on what, like if suppose here in this case only, if I'm going to like fetch the records, fetching the record from employee from the employees table, so I'm not directly using like the employee entity here for fetching the records. Instead of using the entity, like what I'm doing, I'm just using the DTO, correct? So basically here our main approach is what, like we are just converting that entity into the DTO, and then only we are fetching na. So the automapper, it will take a directions as like is what, it will take the data from entity to your DTO, correct? So your entity is employee and your DTO name is what, employee DTO. So it will pass the data from employees to employee DTO, and then it will fetch it from the employee DTOs only. Because we know like the find all functions will not work for you like the DTO or like that kind of things. It will just look for you like the table only, like which are entities are present over there, correct? It will not take like the DTOs wala. So like what it is doing, like basically automapper, it will just take a help of the entity and DTO both, correct? And then after that it will just try to pass like the data from entity to DTO, and then it will fetch like the from the DTO then, correct? Here we are just taking like the DTO's help. So how do we take a work of like the automappers over there? Okay, so for taking the automapper, the first thing is what, guys, some things are like the new things are there, like, so like just try to note somewhere. If it is needed like in your project also, you can do like the some implementations work of it. Okay, so for implementing the automapper, see like what we have to do here. The simple definitions we can say, the automapper is nothing the mapping the object to object. We are calling like object to object mapping, that is called as like the automappers only. Object to object means what, like we are mapping from entity to DTO or DTO to entity, like that. But both are like the kind of objects only, that we have to map only, right? So how do we handle that? So suppose here in this case only, I don't want to do like write these things. If now in this case only the for field, but in such cases like there are 100 200 fields are there. So how do we handle that kind of fields, correct? So for that way, like how the automapper will take a place there, so that we will see now. So for taking the automapper help, first upon need to go with like the one of the dependency that we need to like install, or like we need to like set up inside the pom.xml file. Like when you come into like the pom.xml file, you can see these are like the previous dependencies only. Just need to take like the some dependency help over there. So like we have to first go in a, shall come to here, and what you have to search here, see we have to search like, see the AutoMapper is here, it's called as dependency name as ModelMapper. You can see here like we'll get it, ModelMapper Maven dependency. Just search for it. See, you can see over there the ModelMapper. Take this latest one only, the version. See, this is one like the ModelMapper or dependency. I'll take a copy of it, and where we have to put it in our pom.xml file. So these are your like overall dependency. I'll just keep it there. And first of all, like we'll save this. Okay, so like I have just like loaded the AutoMapper here now. So it is loading here the ModelMapper. So again, see guys, like after loading these things, we have to just like load the ModelMapper data annotation, like ModelMapper, sorry, not data annotation, ModelMapper class. Data, once it is loaded, then we will go for that. See, it's loaded now. Yeah. Once it is loaded, after that, like what I'll do, like I'll just come into this application in the same package, and I'll create one more package. Okay, inside it only, like I'll just create one more, that is for config, for configurations one. So like I'm just going to create one configuration for the mapper. I'm not adding inside this, I'm just creating like the new package. And in the configuration file, how to load like the ModelMapper wala object there, so that I'll show you. We'll create one class. Okay, we'll give like the name as mapper configuration. Okay, so this is one like the user defined class one, you can give it like the any name. After loading this, just pass this class. Okay, so this is one like the configuration class. So like what we have to do, just like pass one data annotation there, that is configuration. Okay, so this is one like the configuration class. After that, what I want like inside the configuration, I'm just going to look for like the ModelMapper class, which is the inbuilt class. Okay, so like when the configuration will get called now, so that time the ModelMapper should be getting load there. That ModelMapper all have been, it will loop there na, that is objects inside like the IOC container. So what I'll do, I'll just create one method which will return the ModelMapper. So my return type is, see, like I'll just check there. Can you see there, like here it is showing from the which package, org.modelmapper, and then we have to pass like the method name as like, let's say ModelMapper. You can pass like any method name here. Okay, and don't forget to pass like the one more annotation there, that is called as bean, to like load the object of like your ModelMapper. So I'm loading this, and here see like the ModelMapper, it is like the one of the method or like the property we can say, you can configure many things here. But here what I'm going to try here, like I'll just create one some the single object only for the model mapper, because whatever the things I want in a service, or like whichever the files, like I'll just load directly that class over there. And here only I'm just adding one flat objects. Flat objects means what? Basically the I don't want any more configuration inside this model mapper. I'm just creating like the simple objects only over there. That is, let's say like we have to create the simple model mapper wala objects. New. Okay, and we have to just pass the return mapper. That's it. So this is called as like the one flat objects. We are just passing only the objects. So like when the object will get like the return in the configuration, in that case it's like you have to pass the configuration there. So here also you can configure many things, that DTO to entity, entity to DTO, that also like you can configure over there. But it is not needed more like the just you have to solve these things at the part of like in the service sides only, where the service wala class implementation is there. Okay, so like once it is done, so the model mapper like I have configured like the bean I have created here. So now it will load. So see, like now it will just start to give like the error one there. See here, model mapper wala not found the like not found the model mappers, because we have not used now. So what we have to do now, like the next thing, I'll just come into the this one Impl REST controller. So before that I'll just come into like the REST service. So this was the thing like which we had implemented yesterday. So I don't want this thing now. Like what I'll do, like I'll just do the comment there for this method, and now I'm going to use like the model mapper here. So I'll create the method same where we return the employee DTO. Same method name I'm passing, because this method I have already called in a controller, so I'm not going to create like again the different methods. The next thing is what, like here also like we had written like the DTOs only. Next, like I'll pass the return same the repo dot find all. The same will pass the stream operation, and now we have to map.
You have a text message.
Yes. Now this is the main important things what we have to map here. So I don't want like the employee DTO or data over there. Like instead of employee data or DTO.
You have a text message.
Okay, instead of like the DTO or data, like what I'll do, I'll just pass on like the lambda expression here, and pass the implementation inside this. Okay, the same here dot collect, and we have to pass the collector dot to list. Okay, so we'll see for this now what we have to map there. Now what things like I want here, like now we just like need to return the DTO object here, because our return type is employee DTO. So here see, like I'm not creating like the employee constructor or like anything else here. Why? Because if you call like the constructor over there, so like it will again ask to like pass like all the properties for the constructor calling, then only it will work, otherwise it will not work. So I don't want that things, so I'm not calling, I am just implementing my object there, the DTO wala. So what we have to do there, like the next thing is like what I have to do there, we have to return like the employee DTO object there. So for that we will create the object of employee DTO, let's say, and we will create the object of, let's say, DTO is equals to how to map now, like how to use like the mapper to map the employee entity with the employee DTO. So for that, see, like here just like need to take a help of the model mapper. So I'm just binding the object of model mapper, and here we will use the annotation as auto add. See here I'm going to use now mapper dot, the method is map only. So like we have to map only. So after mapping, now it will ask to map like what objects you are going to map here. So like as I said, like we are mapping from entity to DTO. So first of all, like we have to like pass like the entity wala object, then after that it will ask the DTO wala class objects over there. So like here the second parameter we have to call this employee DTO dot class file. So it will generate the object for this. Okay, so now what this line will do na, this line will try to fetch all of the fields which are present inside the employee DTO except the manager, because in a manager like there is only manager wala reference is present, but except the managers where like the ID, name, email, salary, it will fetch like all of the things over there. Will fetch all fields from employee. Okay, but for the manager, what things like I need to do for the manager here then? The same na here, like in a DTO only, like we have to set. So what I want, like here I want set, like we want the manager name here. Inside the manager name, like in a DTO only, like we have to set like the manager name. So we'll write, we are taking the data from e dot get manager dot get and name na, we are which one we are looking there. Yes, see, like so like there is nothing other things. If you wanted to like return like the manager wala ID's data, so you can return it now, it will also work. And here now like what we have to return, like a return type, like we have to return some like the DTO object there na. So I'll pass the return statement here, just return the whole DTO and we'll just give it to the list. So see, DTO I have written and that DTO only it will return to the list now while the presenting time. So see now like my code is reduced. This line was previously it was there. So now I have not formed this like the line. Instead of that, like I just passed like the mapper only. Just mapper all objects. So it will just like help us to handle this like all of the fields. See guys, this is not for helping, this is not I'm taking the help for handle this like 3 to 4 fields. This is not for that one. But in some cases like where like more than 100,000 fields are there, so in that cases like we have to handle this kind of things. So that is very important for us. Like how we can handle it that. Okay, so as a developer, like the productivity time like we have to like reduce over there. Okay, so here the ModelMapper will I pass, and in a controller yes, so it is already there. This part is done. We'll just restart the application. Yes, so see our application started here. Again I'll come into the here now Postman. So see like the previously like we were fetching the record, the same ID like we were passing the git mapping. Okay, so like this one the data, like see previously we were fetching this data but through the DTO. This was our approach, the DTO wala. In a service. See, previously like we were fetching the data through this one and I was getting like the same record, so like here I will test now. what data it is present, so the URL is correct. We'll send the request. Yes, can you see there? It's fetching like the same record now. The previous was record also like the same. It was just fetching from the DTO itself. But here it is not fetching from the DTO itself. It's just taking the help of the AutoMapper. That we are converting the data from, it's just taking the passing the data from Entity to DTO, and DTO is fetching only the data by reducing the code. Yes guys, understood this thing? This is a help of like the AutoMappers. This AutoMapper you can take a help of for fetch operations, for adding the data, for editing the data. It will help you. For deleting purpose, like it is not required there. But where like you are presenting like the more data, in that cases like you can use it. Yes, understood guys these things or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Got it this use. This is like the use of like the AutoMappers, like how we can take like the help for like for adding the employees. If suppose if I wanted to like add some operations for like add new employees. So first we'll do like by using the DTOs only, and after that like we'll take help of the AutoMapper in there. First we'll see without AutoMapper like how it will do, and with AutoMapper how it will do. Yes, all are there guys. Only 2 to 3 people like there are standing only.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
The yesterday wala part, like have you implemented that fetch wala part? So do one thing, just implement this part. So then I'll go to the like, next. Then add wala I'll show then. Otherwise still you will forget it. Okay, so tell me like now we are going to add like the one add wala method, that is for adding the employees, but by using the DTO first, and then like we'll go for the AutoMapper. Tell me like with DTO operation like how it will work. So here first of all like we'll create methods, and we'll pass like the return type as void only, like because we are not going to like return anything over there now. Okay. After this void, like what I have to do, like we'll pass the method name. Let's say add employee. But see, for adding the employee, like what I'll do, I don't want this like the DTO, that employee DTO. You can see like the employee DTO where having like all fields, that is ID, name, email, salary, M name. So instead of M name, like I want the ID na here, like don't want the M name, because we are updating or like we are adding the employees with the manager ID, not for like by the manager name. Okay, so like what I'll do, like you can just like take up this one model also DTO, or else like I'll just go with the one more DTO. Just copy this DTO only, or I'll just add it. We'll copy this field. Here we'll pass the name as EMP DTO2, let's say. We'll take the fields this same, but here I don't want the string, like I'll take a integer. It is manager ID. Okay, for adding the employees. As you know, like the same thing, like we have to pass the constructor, and we'll pass the getter setter methods. We'll generate the getter setters. Yes, so it is added now. Like we'll see how the operation will go there now. We'll come to the service here. So see, we are passing one parameter. See, instead of passing the parameter as an employee, see we know like for adding the employee, like we need this entity, that is employee or entity. but I don't want the employee or entity. Like instead of that, like I'm just taking the help of the DTO. So what I'll do like here, then I'll use the DTO to which I have created now, and will pass the object of DTO. Okay, so after that, like what I have to do, if there is any the automapper, so without automappers we have to be just look for like all of the fields which are present inside the employees. Okay, so like how it will do like the operations over there. So for that we can do one thing, we can just like create one the object for like the employees entity, and with the help of this e only you can set the values, or else you can directly call the constructor also, because we have created the constructor also. If this is one like we are setting the values only to set, so we don't want to set eid because like we are adding the employees, so we'll go for like the ename directly. Okay, or else like we can directly call inside the constructor, so that will be also the fine. See, in a e dot set name means inside the entity like we are setting the name, but this name we are fetching from the DTO. So for understanding I'm just taking the help of this, otherwise it is not required. The same will set the email ID, and here again I'll take the data from the DTO, so that is I'll use the DTO dot get email. See like what I'm trying, I'm just fetching the data from the DTO and putting inside the employees. One more thing was there, that is set salary, and the same data like I'll take it from the DTO. But what about the managers? Like now there is no managers, all data is present. So for that, like what I'll do like here, then you can check whether the condition where like the manager the reference is getting null or not. If you can check there, if e dot get manager is not equals to null, then only it will come inside this to check whether the null is there or not. Okay, so here if it is not null, so I'll create the reference of the manager entity, object name is equals to okay. So from the manager I just want only the one field, that is manager ID, we are just like looking there. So for that like what we will do, like in a mng will pass the set MID. See, MID wala property is there, but here again like I'll take the data from the DTO only, because in the DTO like we have the IDs present. So we'll pass get MID, but see the set MID which is present inside the manager, not in employees. So now the managers wala data like we have to set for like the employees now. So we will say here the e dot set manager, inside that like we'll pass the reference of manager. So see that e is like now it is updated, like we said like the manager ID also here, and the next thing is what, like we have to go for like the save all operations now. So we'll pass the repo dot, it is repo, yeah, repo dot the function you have to pass, save, and we have to save the e, not DTO, because e is the entity. So that's it. Say like it will save like the record of like the employees now, and that will call this method now in a controller. It is like the void methods only. So we'll come into the controller now. Here what I'll do, I am just taking the return type as a string, where I'm going to like return some message without using like the response entity string, and we are passing the add employees data. We'll pass here the post mapping, and if you want then you can pass like the route, or else it is not required. the again it will require like the data, so like we have to provide the data of, so which data like we have to provide it over there like in a controller now, the DTO wala or like the entity wala.
DTO, no?
DTO. So we'll take object of EMP, so DTO2, which is like we are taking there for the addition, and from a service we are accessing the method serve dot add emp will pass this object, and we have to return like the one string message, so like we'll pass one return message return, let's say employee added success. Okay, so like when the post method will happen, so like it will just return like the one response over there, that is employee added success in a like the string methods only. Okay, we'll test it this method now, the DTO wala, like how it is going. So how to run this now, just tell me. I think same route is there, same path, only just need to change the post verb. Here we'll pass one object, you have to check here as well like the body which we are passing like in a form of raw, and here like it will be in a JSON formats. So here like we'll pass like all of the objects, so I'll pass first the ename, not eid like we'll get it like by auto increments. We'll take the data, let's say this one, we'll take one email ID, then the next was what, the salary. See, we are just taking the like the necessary details only, we are not going for like the some unnecessary details, that object is not objects which is not required here. We'll set salary, and we'll take one details as a MID. The MID like we have like the two IDs are present, I think. See the first one ID which is for the I think first record was the Shubham Mola manager, so like I'll take a one. See this details is required only here, no need to pass like the nested objects. We'll send the request, okay, we have to check the e salary is getting null, just check there the field, the employee EMP DTO2, no, here like we did the mistakes. See the data like we have passed, the one more annotation is required here, like the data, it's the body, it is not loaded here now, the DTO wala. So to load this body inside like the JSON, what annotation like we have to pass here,
Request body.
So now we will load the body now inside the JSON now. We'll save it again. So see like it is not loaded, that's why. Again we'll come to here and we'll send the request. See the message is getting written, that is employee added success, but again like we have to check whether the data is getting written or not inside like the table. We'll send the request gate wala. Oh, I think the null wala we have not passed the condition there. The one record is found null, that name wala somewhere while fetching time. Get manager is getting null. Where is to that in a service. Here, how to check like here for like the null value? Here the set m name like we are setting na here. It is just like we are directly setting. If I wanted to like check for like the some null value, how to check the like the null value here? We'll check in our database also here first. Hmm. Our database is this Spring DB. See the last wala value we have loaded, but see the MID was gone empty here. MID is not loaded here. And the in a gate type like we have not checked for the null value, so like that's why it is not showing like the null na there. Here see in this one. We have just directly display like the managers wala value, like we have not checked for like whether the value is null or not. So first of all check for this one like while adding time like why the manager ID is going null here. Check this here. Here the manager wala reference is coming. We are setting the MID. Here is a controller. Is anything is mistake? You check in a service. Why the ID is going null? Here we pass the MID column. Yes, so guys, just look into this. Why it is going null? Just check it. Why the service is going null here? The rest of the details it is like going, but except the MID. MID is not only going here. Yes, anyone? Just check this code. Yes, guys, all are there or not? Just actively, I think you are not in the session.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you talk something, na? Yeah, like I'm asking something here. Check into this, like what mistake is there. Do one thing, just implement it in your systems and find out the issue, what the issue is going there for the ID.